Hey there, have you tried reporting on SEO and organic results in GA4 and you just are pulling your hair out? Obviously, I have as well. So we're going to take a look today at how to build SEO dashboards in Looker Studio to make your life a little bit easier and to be able to get to the data that you're looking for more succinctly. So if you look at GA4, which we're in right now, as you can tell, the reports for SEO are kind of all over the place, right? So you can find SEO data under acquisition, and you can see, overall user trends and traffic. So you can get to some of these metrics like new users and that type of stuff within GA4. But if you want to get to keyword level stuff, then you have to have integrated your Search Console and look for things like queries and that type of thing. And so it's discombobulated. It's not all pulled together to be easily available. So we're going to take a look at how to do that in Looker, formerly known as Data Studio, and so that you can, find the data you want. All right. If you haven't, by the way, if this is not available, this Search Console is not available in your GA4 dashboard, you can connect that, which I really suggest that you do. The Search Console data is a treasure trove of information coming from Google, all about like how your keywords are ranking, what pages people are landing on, your site performance and that type of stuff. So you can go into the admin and you can link Search Console right here. And you can see we've already got it linked, but you would add that there. So it will take some time for that data to come through. So it behooves you to do it sooner than later. So I'm going to hold off on doing that. All right. So we know GA4 is not the best. So let's take a look at Looker Studio. Okay. We're in Looker Studio and we're going to create a new report. So we start with a blank report. It's going to ask us a couple of things about the data that we want to connect. So you can see here in Looker, you have a number of options for data connectors that are built in, as well as third-party data connectors. So Google Analytics is a good place to start. We're going to use both Google Analytics as well as the Google Search Console, so we'll be connecting that additionally as well. But you can see the number of things that are available in here from Google, even like YouTube metrics and stuff like that, Search Console, obviously, and then also third-party. So most of these, the great majority of them are paid. So you would need to pay for these connectors, but we're not going to look at those today. So when I start with Google Analytics, I'm going to search for this particular website, GA4 data. Okay, got it. So now that GA4 data is connected, I'll show you in a bit how we can connect more. Before we get started, I typically like our dashboards to be darker. So we're going to look at the theme. Now we're going to choose. All right, so now that gives us a black background. I think it's more visually appealing. The caveat is that if you or your clients or whoever's looking at this, the end users will print these out, then black isn't the best option. All right, now that we have the black theme, we are going to start adding elements. So one of the things I like to do is add a control, and this way it allows you to choose the dates that the user looks at so they can modify that. So we're going to make that a little bit more attractive in a minute. So just set that there. You can set the default to be, let's say we want to look at this on a monthly basis. So we would look at last week. And that way, that is in there. The user can go in and adjust that at any point. So don't be worried about that. We're going to change the font size here. It will change the font size there to make it a little bit easier to read. So now we have a date selector. Now we're going to add the actual data. So when you're looking at SEO, think about what some of the important metrics are that are going to help you optimize your program, that you can show the executives in your company or with your agency, what are going to, the important things that they should be keeping track of. I will say off the bat, one of the things that a lot of agencies and tools report on is keyword ranking or average ranking and that kind of thing. I'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit, why we don't see that as hugely important. And there's a number of reasons, but we'll touch on that in a bit. So let's start adding data to the dashboard. So one of the things we usually start with is these scorecards. And that is an easy way to see that data. Again, you can change the coloring here. You can change the font size, that type of thing. We're probably going to change the font size in this. So let's go to Style, Auto, and let's change this to a little bit larger, just to make it easier to see. All right. Now, for numbers that are larger, because we have this on auto, you can use compact numbers, which will do what that just did. So if you have large numbers of traffic that are going to be outside of this box, it may behoove you to do that, because that way you have a little bit more space. This guy, for this dashboard, I don't think it's really necessary. All right, so now we have the views, but this is for the entire site. So we're going to add a filter, and we're going to call it organics, whatever you want. This is for your purposes. We're going to include a user media link. Organic. Now, that number is high for this site. You can see that is the majority of their traffic. Because if we get rid of this, you can see it's very different number. If we add that back, it's because most of their traffic comes from organic. So, which is why it's an important report for that. All right, so now we have the filter built in here. We've got the formatting the way we want it. So the easiest way to do that is to copy this and then input the metrics that we want. So in this one, what we're going to do here is we're going to do users, total users. Okay. So this is the unique users coming from SEO. So we're going to copy this, paste it, line it up. You can select multiples, by the way, and then adjust them. And then you can copy that in multiples too, which makes building this report a little bit easier. Okay. So we've got total users. We're going to want sessions as well, because that is the number of visits that somebody has. So we're going to put sessions. Okay. So then we know that's SEO sessions, because that filter for organic is still there. Probably new users might be important. Look at that. New users to the site. All right, so that's user information right off the bat that is going to be useful. Let's make sure these are lined up. We're going to then kind of break this apart into conversion metrics. So depending on your site, you're going to have different conversion metrics. And so maybe your site is a non-retail site, but it has lead forms or downloads or something like that. So whatever conversion that you're interested in reporting on. So keep in mind that sometimes if you have lots of different types of conversions, when you report it, it'll get mixed in here. You may need to create filters for the type of conversion that you want. So if you have a whole bunch of conversions, you don't want to just report on conversions because it's all of them together. So just keep that in mind. So these guys are retail. So we're going to put revenue. Like that. One of the compact metrics. All right. So you can see in here already, see how the revenue is outside of the box. You can handle that pretty easily just by clicking on this and renaming it. So revenue. And now that's renamed it for that box. So we have revenue. We're going to do the copy and paste again. And we're going to look at orders. Seft is transactions. Tricksy. All right, same thing. The actions, we're going to change to orders. And then we're going to do conversion rate. Now, you can do session conversion rate or user conversion rate for this. So it's really depending on how you report it, just as long as you're consistent across your reporting. So the difference there is that you have fewer, as you can see here, fewer unique users. So your conversion rate is going to be higher. So if you do it on sessions, it's going to be a lower conversion rate. They're both valid measurements, but you're going to need to make sure that you define it consistently across your reporting as a company. So let's try session conversion rate. Okay, so you can see it's higher. Just do that. Okay, so now we have, as you can see already, some significant metrics for the SEO program. So we have the revenue, we have the orders, we have conversion rate. There's other things that we're going to want to probably add here. So let's look at the revenue and conversion. I'm going to copy some of those, paste on. Let's look at average order, average purchase revenue. We would call it AOV. And if you wonder what metrics are available, this is what this list is over here. So you can see all of the different available metrics for this report under your GA4. So this will be different metrics if you have a different data source, which we'll show you in a little bit. One thing I didn't show you is that in some of these, you may want to show year-over-year comparisons or month-over-month comparisons. So in the style, in your setup, you may want to show comparison options. So show value, comparison date range, and you can default to something. So for instance, we can default to the previous year. Okay. Now, I'm going to set that boxy a bit. So we're going to make that a little bit bigger. All right. So you can see it's green for up. You can change the formatting of that. For instance, if you have a metric that when it goes up, it's bad, like bounce rate or something like that, you can change to red. So you can change this arrow here to whatever color you want in the numbers. So let me see if we can do that across all things that we do the comparison. You can. So let's do previous year. So as I have said, you can look at previous period or previous year. We prefer looking at previous year in the comparison because then it does away with any of the issues with seasonality, right? So if you're looking at a month that has specific holidays in it, you want to understand how those holidays are impacting your traffic. So if you're just only looking at your previous month or the previous period, you're not going to see that, so it may be skewed. Obviously, it really depends on what you're looking for, and if it's a new site, you may not have the data. So that is another thing to consider. So maybe you don't have GA4 implemented for that, didn't have it last year, or maybe it's a new website, and then you're stuck really just looking at previous period because that's all you can look at. So you can see here where it's changing the size of these and calibrating. So okay, so we have AOV, we have orders. What are some other metrics that you would like as a retailer? It could be items per order. Okay. Yeah, maybe we want bounce rate. Checking over there. All right, bounce. All right, so why is bounce rate something that we would look at? Well, it tells us if people are engaging with the content that they're landing on, right? So if just because your pages are ranking for SEO or for organic search, if they come to the site and then bounce at a very high rate, then you want to adjust that content to keep them sticky, right? Because your ultimate goal is not just to rank really high for your keywords. It's also to, have somebody do something, right? Whether that's a purchase or engaging with your site or downloading something. So all those conversion metrics are important. So, all right. So there is some of the key metrics for SEO. There are others, obviously, and we will continue to build this out as well. So one of the things I do like to try to incorporate, you can either do Spark graphs or larger graphs in here too, just to give people an idea of the trends that they're seeing. So obviously there are different types of graphs you can put in here, but let's take a look at the one that we usually use. I like to use Swither runs. Okay. Again, we're going to use a filter, organics, and we're going to use the comparison data. Previous year. Apply. Okay. And so now we have a graph that shows that. Now you can stylize this however you want. You can get rid of some of the grid. You can change the sizes, that kind of thing. I usually get rid of the grid and things like that. But again, all of that's under the style area, and you can adjust it to your liking. So we're not going to go into all of the formatting for this, but you get the idea for that. Okay. And then you can do this for users. Yeah, I'm going to copy this, paste it, and also do one for sessions. Okay. And then we're going to do a graph for revenue, because that is probably even more important. Let's do revenue. All right. So now we have a basic, quick, dashboard. Again, these metrics may vary depending on your site. They may be less or more useful for you to understand how the program is working. But you can see here that, it gives you a quick glance at SEO for this month. Now, like I said, you can change it to week, but this is this month. So this is a quick first glance dashboard. Now, there's other important data, yes, that has not been included. So we're going to add a page. Yeah, we're going to name these pages. So let's name swine. The executive dashboard, or let's call it overview. And then the second one, we're going to have keywords. Okay. And so this is where we're going to actually add a new data source. We're going to add a table. Okay. And instead of GA4 data, we're going to include a new data source. We're going to add data. We're going to go down to Search Console. And let's remain internal. All right, so now we are looking at Google Console data. And we're going to change the dimension to 30. And we're going to add impressions. We're going to add clicks. We're going to add average position, even though I know average position is going to be different for everybody, right? So we have a lot of clients get hung up on keyword positioning, and a lot of tools and agencies will report on that. For instance, they'll say like, hey, we got these keywords to within the top 10. And that's great, but it doesn't really tell you how they're performing, right? It doesn't tell you whether they're driving revenue. It doesn't tell you any of that kind of stuff. So, and the keyword position is going to be different for people depending on their browser behavior. So if you've, searched for something or you're in a local area, you're going to see completely different results in your Google search results page than you will if you're in a different city or have different browser behavior. So the keyword position that you see is going to be completely different than what somebody else is seeing. Now, I will tell you that the Google Search Console keyword positions are typically an average. So it's something to keep in mind. It's not some sort of like de facto number, like, oh, we're always in number 2, because we have people that will mention that. They're like, well, the Google Search Console says we're in 2, but every time I go to look, it's not there. And it's because it's different for everybody. So don't get hung up on average position, but it is something to monitor. Okay, and I'm going to add click-through rate as well. Why not? Right, so we can adjust this various sizes if you like, and formatting, but that is the general gist of how many keywords we're doing. So if you have a long list, you can see that it paginates it, so you can actually click through the different keywords. And again, you can format this, so the top keywords and that type of thing, you can actually get rid of the number on the side. So I don't like the row numbers. You can show the pagination or not. So there's a bunch of formatting that you can do for this. I'm not going to get into all the formatting that's possible. I do sometimes like to use row colors just because it helps to carry the eye along. And we're going to change the font size on this just to make it a little bit easier to read. For those of us that are getting older like myself, who have a hard time reading some of this stuff. Well, that's the header size. So actually the header size to increase it is bad. Here's the size. All right, so that makes it a little bit easier to read. And then you can change around the position of these. So if you want, for instance, clicks to be the first, you can do that. And then you can also tell it to order by clicks. Let's do that. Set impressions. And so now we have it in order by clicks, and then we can see impressions, average position, and the click-through rate. So this is a good overview of your keywords and what people are searching for, what they're clicking on. We cannot associate revenue with this, unfortunately. So that's why we're pulling it from Google Search Console. We can pull in landing pages, and we'll do that next. And then you can start to see some of the revenue that may be associated with your organic landing pages and how people are purchasing on the site. So let's do that. So again, we would typically format this, put in a date range thing here. Let's make this report level. And so that way on all of the pages that we create, you got the date range. It's a new page. And a page. We're going to do landing pages. So again, let's do table. You know what? I'm going to copy the table from over here since we formatted it and stuff already. Change the data source to remain internal. gotta get rid of these because those are metrics for through the console. So here we're going to show landing page. We're going to use that filter again. And so now we're seeing landing pages for SEO specifically. Just like in the other table, we can show other metrics. So let's see if revenue shows up for these. Okay. So you can see that only one page for them is really generating any revenue. And we can show views. We can also show users. Okay. Engagement, engaged sessions, or engagement rate. So how many people are actually engaging with it. And then bounce rate. Bounce rate's relatively new. They did not have this as part of the metrics for a while. So if you recall, it was available in Universal Analytics, but for whatever reason, they decided not to include it in GA4 at first. I think there was a lot of outcry about that because it's a fundamental metric that a lot of people used. So including bounce rate back in, I'm sure was to appease some of the people that weren't very happy with. All right. So I have in here the landing page query, but you can also put in page title instead. So if you have, that may be easier for you to not see the URL if you want to just look at the page title. But you can do it both ways. And so sometimes some people prefer the URL. Especially if they have lots and lots of pages with very similar names. Maybe you have a ton of products that are very similar. The page name can be super helpful, but that is the change you can make. And so then there's the page name, and this will tell you where people are landing. And so if you know, for instance, that you're driving a ton of revenue or traffic to a specific page, largely from SEO, then you can start to see the revenue that it's generating. So you can say, hey, this is something that we know is driving revenue, because like I said, you can't get back to the keyword revenue, but you can try to do your best guess as to what keywords are helping and actually driving revenue. Okay, so that's a quick glimpse at a basic SEO dashboard. Like I said, there's a lot of other metrics you could potentially include here that might be important for you. You may want to report on your keywords differently, and you may want to look at landing pages and queries and that type of stuff a little bit differently. So, for instance, if you are not an e-commerce site, there might be other conversion events that you want to include here, or if you have a number of custom events that you've set up. So, button click tracking or email newsletter sign up or anything like that you have created a custom event for on the site, you may want to include that in your dashboard as well, because those are different conversion metrics or things that you want to understand how SEO is impacting them. So I hope this was helpful. Like I said, this is just a quick and easy dashboard for SEO. You can obviously format this a lot more and make it prettier and brand it, put your logo and stuff on there. But this will help with your reporting, so you don't have to go digging around in GA4. You don't have to have your executives go try to use GA4. You can send them this, share this with them, they can go look at it, or you can save it as a PDF and send it to them on a regular basis. So this will give them the high-level metrics. So if you like this, go ahead and like and subscribe. It is so helpful for us if you do that. And then we'll be doing more stuff about Looker Studio as well as GA4 in the future. So stop back and look for future content about this as well. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them. We do answer as many comments as we can and as many questions as we can. And if there's ways that you're reporting on SEO, we'd love to hear about it and tell us the metrics that you're using in your dashboards and how they're helpful for you. So I'll see you. Have a good one. Good luck with your SEO and good luck with GA4. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.